I got a question, non-schedule related, and I'm going to ask you both. Although I don't really think John has to answer because I can predict what his hashtag will be. What his answer will be, hashtag no. Mike Gill, should Howie Roseman be attempting to sign the punt god today?
I mean, this is a one where they would do a lot of due diligence, I'm imagining. If he's completely cleared, and this is one of those things, you go back to Michael Vick when the Eagles signed him. People went up in arms. I'm never going to buy tickets again. And people bought tickets again. He was penalized for something. He served his penalty. If the league is saying you are welcomed back into our league, then sure. I mean, this is a situation where they need that position. The league is saying he's eligible to play. Then you deal with the press afterwards. If there is any press. I mean, the guy was completely absolved. He apparently wasn't even there, which opens up a whole nother can of problems that we've got. But, yeah, any of these things, look, you as a fan can judge for yourself whether you want to support the team because of that player. The Mike Vick thing, I think, was a clear thing that the fans will support. They might say they'll never buy a ticket again. You know how many people I heard that said they would never watch the Eagles again? Well, here they are watching the Eagles and probably were the first people in line to buy Super Bowl tickets. So you deal with the 48 hours of negativity if you get it, and then you move on. That's how you run your business. I mean, that's a business decision if you want to get into it. So they need that position. If they feel that's the right fit and the league is saying this man is now eligible to return to our league, you have to consider it.
Yeah, I think the Eagles might consider it down the road. He's still got a civil lawsuit he's dealing with. I don't think they want any parts of that situation. Because remember, when people say, and I think it was Dan Wetzel, so I'll give Dan credit. Dan got the transcript. It's about 200 pages. It's like a book of, essentially the DA, declining to press charges. And there's a lot of exculpatory evidence in there. Did have sex with the girl before he left the party. That's in the transcript. So there's going to be this he said, she said thing in the civil suit. And I don't think until that's cleared up. Now, when that's cleared up, I think, if they still need a punter, I think maybe it's in play and they'll do and Jeffrey Lurie's proven, I say all of the time,
right?
He has proven he will give people second chances. But until that civil lawsuit, because when a DA, a lot of people say he's been completely cleared. They decline to prosecute because they don't think they could win the case. That is not saying you're innocent. Their investigation is that once the alleged part of the rape occurred, he had left the party, and from their standpoint in their investigation, they said, "Hey, look, we can't win this case. We can't, and we're not going to prosecute this case." But it's still.
Let me get your stance on this, John. You're saying the NFL / Roger Goodell should be more judgmental than a district attorney?
No, I'm not saying. I'm talking about the Eagles. I'm saying I don't think the Eagles, as far as what Roger Goodell does. I mean, again, the problem with the NFL is there's no precedent to what they do. Sometimes they keep people on the commissioner's exempt list. Sometimes they don't. It usually has to do, to be honest, with the level of public scrutiny. It usually has to do with that. They're trying to keep the wolves at bay, so to speak. Mm-hmm. So I can't speak to what Roger Goodell is going to do. My perception of the Eagles is as long as that civil lawsuit is out there, they probably don't want to touch it because more could come out in that particular lawsuit. Remember, civil lawsuits are not criminal. It's not beyond a reasonable doubt. It's 51%, 51 versus 49. Mm-hmm. So it's much easier. And you could have a lot of mud thrown. and
Right.
it become worse from a public relations perspective. That's what I'm talking about.
Well, and that's what
where
I said. The Eagles probably having to do a whole heck of a lot more digging than just what we know now. They're probably going to have to ask a lot more because of that possibility. Hey, look, if it were me, I'd probably say, I don't want any part of this. Let somebody
and
else
that's
deal
where I
with that.
think they'll end
Yeah.
up. That's my guess. Pure speculation.
But Big Dom is supposedly the best security guy in the entire National Football League. If you're going to depend on a guy that you have on your payroll that you think is great at what he does, wouldn't you send the bloodhound to this Big Dom out to find out what's going on?
Because these are much bigger issues, but also realize it's a punter. It's not a quarterback. It's not
How'd that Sippers putt in the Super Bowl go, John?
I get it, but it's still a punter. It's still a punter. And they're not
that wound is still fresh, John. At some point, I think Eagle fans could get back to, yeah, but it's just a punter. Not today. Not as long as we can see that punt being returned inside the red zone during the Super Bowl.
It will be
a little bit more painful.
It will be interesting, though, to see. Now is he suspended from the league, or did the Bills just release him?
The Bills
just released him.
So he's eligible.
I don't think he's not a part. I don't know, Jody, if you remember. I don't think he's on the exempt list. I don't think anything.
Right.
They just released him.
There was reporting at the time that the NFL was about to take action against him and potentially suspend him and the like, and the Bills beat him to it and released him ahead of time.
So he's not even a part of the league. So from their standpoint, they don't have to do anything, which is what they like, to be honest.
Right. So if some team tried to sign him,
then they'd have to do so. Yeah.
They'd at least have to make a statement. If they don't feel that any punishment is warranted, then he could just sign with whatever team. I just want to see the kid was so good in college. I don't know you read excerpts from the Wetzel column, right, John? You didn't read the whole 200 pages, did you? Because I sure as hell didn't.
No, but his piece is very detailed. It explains the entire situation. And as he describes it, and I'll read it exactly, prosecutors in San Diego have now detailed their doubts about those allegations, and why Araiza and others won't be charged. So they can't win the case. They know they can't win the case. They have doubts. They're not going to prosecute the case. Now, you see it all over. And again, from a legal standpoint, people say, oh, he's innocent, he's been cleared. That's not what that means. That means they can't win the case. They don't have enough evidence to win the case. There's still a civil lawsuit out there where you don't have to, again, prove beyond a reasonable doubt, which is much more difficult than winning a civil lawsuit. The girl and her lawyer claim they're going to keep moving forward. There's going to be a lot of mudslinging back and forth. I just don't think the Eagles want to be a part of that.
Right. Which, again, goes back to what we said before. The Eagles do their due diligence. I would imagine they say, this is just not worth it for us.